Hi, everyone, and welcome to Talks with Dr. Schaefer. I'm Dr. Schaefer. I'm a mom, a physician, a board-certified neurologist, a musician, publisher, and creator on a quest to help others through storytelling. I believe in creating safe spaces to share our stories so that we can heal and grow and support one another and create an environment where there is no need for shame, but rather a focus on meeting life's challenges with a focus on the possibilities ahead. Today on Talks with Dr. Schaefer, I would like to talk about forgiveness, what it is, what it isn't, and why we shouldn't live without it. The concept of forgiveness has been all around me this week, in conversations with family and friends, podcasts that I'm listening to, books I'm reading, a program for my child at school, a certification program I'm in, and even the sermon at church have all centered around forgiveness. I have experienced great love and great loss in this week, and in the processing of that, the virtue of forgiveness has been in the center. If I was approaching life from the perspective of not letting go, of not being willing to forgive, I would be full of pain and frustration. There are relationships that will always invoke this virtue, and that we will need to approach with caution and self-awareness to ensure that we are honoring ourselves, while also giving the grace and forgiveness awarded us many times. From where I stand in this current moment, forgiveness is pulling me through so much. The release it awards me is keeping me focused and energetic. I am not ignoring what I am experiencing, but I am choosing how much pain I wish to carry forward on my journey. I have a lot of growing to do. I'm going places. I can't go as far if I'm carrying too much baggage. I have a long way to go, and I believe meeting my goals is important. So I can only pack what I absolutely need to keep going on this journey. And anger is just not something I have room for, not anymore. Let's talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a word and a topic that invokes emotions of all kinds. What is forgiveness and what is unforgiveness? What is the definition of forgiveness? Per Merriam-Webster, to forgive is to cease to feel resentment against an offender, to pardon, forgive one's enemies, to give up resentment of or claim to requital, to give up resentment of or claim to requital. What are the physiological effects of forgiveness? It has been found that not only does forgiveness improve our relationships with others and with ourselves, with benefits to our mental health, such as decreased symptoms of depression, anxiety, stress, and hostility. Other physiologic markers can improve as well, such as lower blood pressure, improved cardiovascular or heart health, and a stronger immune system. At a meeting for my child's sacrament preparation, the deacon covered the sacrament of penance and gave a truly moving and inspirational talk on the history of forgiveness, the meaning of forgiveness, and the blessing that it is not only to the forgiven, but to the forgiver. Deacon Paul rightly stated, forgiveness is simple. It's not easy. And it isn't. It can be really, really challenging, depending upon the depth of the hurt and the cost to the one being hurt. Sometimes you've suffered a loss that can never be remedied in the offender's lifetime or many other lifetimes to come. But holding on to anger and resentment and refusing forgiveness will only bring you harm. One last statement I wanted to share from Deacon Paul was one about self-forgiveness. He said, God forgives. The problem is, we don't forgive ourselves sometimes. And that's a big deal. And it truly is. Because if we learn how to forgive others, we gift ourselves a gift of release. But if we never forgive ourselves, we can never have true peace. Not forgiving oneself is another manifestation of shame and a feeling of undeserving. We all deserve forgiveness, and we all need to forgive ourselves as well as others. But for us to feel better and see the health benefits of forgiveness, we have to make a practice of forgiving ourselves as well. We can be our own biggest critic, and we can never leave ourselves alone. So how do we go about exercising forgiveness? To help practice forgiveness, sometimes making a daily practice of reflecting on forgiveness, of stating affirmations to help remind you of your habit of forgiveness, or writing things down you would like to forgive yourself, or writing things down you would like to forgive yourself, or would like to forgive others for. This exercise helps to clarify what can sometimes be a dull background din of negative, limiting thoughts that have gathered strength and momentum due to holding on to rather than releasing feelings of anger and resentment. If you aren't in the space where you feel ready to forgive someone, there are some things you can do to help you move along in the process for your own healing. Doing an assessment of what the hurt was can help you feel validation for what occurred, which we all need and seek to feel. Sometimes family or friends or a therapist can help with this process, or reading or listening to content aimed to help us process this issue. If you still feel unable to forgive, taking a step back and trying to view the situation or issue from the perspective of the offending party can help you have empathy for where they are coming from. This does not mean you are saying that they are correct, or that what they did to you was okay. Taking a step back and out of your own situation and feelings and focusing on the perspective of the other person may help reframe the situation so that you can release your anger and resentment. So, what is the cost of being unforgiving? Anger and resentment living within us is destructive to our mental and physical health. The NIH conducted a study that showed a myriad of negative associations with anger, from the increased risk of car accidents, increased risk for developing type 2 diabetes, increased risk for bulimia nervosa, a serious eating disorder, hypertension, coronary artery disease, and death due to coronary artery disease, and worsening of symptoms of depression and anxiety. Coming back to that lecture that I was a part of for my daughter's sacrament prep, I want to share something that Father Mike, a Catholic priest who makes educational videos shown in the class I was in, made. He made some really important points about forgiveness, and one of them was, unforgiveness is making your enemy poison and drinking it yourself. Holding anger and resentment inside is poison that will harm us mentally and physically until we are able and willing to release them. After forgiving, we have several options to move forward safely and smartly. Once you forgive someone, if your intuition and knowledge from their past behavior is telling you that you cannot reconnect with them after trust was broken, the next step is to release them from your life. Some people weren't meant to stay in our lives, no matter how difficult it is for us to let the relationship go. Sometimes holding on to a relationship that does not serve us is like grasping tighter and tighter to shards of broken glass. The harder we try to hold on, the deeper they cut us, until the pain we feel becomes compelling enough for us to finally let go. That pain is telling you something, always. It is showing you where you need to work, where you need to let go, and where you need to grow. And just like a garden, we need to both plant and prune to grow. We cannot move forward carrying every connection and everything we've carried in the past. We have to learn to set things down and to walk away. Some relationships, after we've done the work of understanding what has happened and of forgiving, we may decide that we can reconcile with this individual or with this group. To reconcile is to restore friendly relations, which requires that trust, likely broken by the behavior that required forgiveness, be restored. A mother may easily forgive her child for breaking a house rule. For example, her child leaving in the night with the family car must be forgiven by the mother. But in order to reconcile, the teenager likely needs to build back trust by not breaking rules that the mother has enforced for safety reasons. The child may lose access to the car altogether due to the mother's concerns about the child's ability to make good choices surrounding its use. Once trust has been rebuilt, the two may reconcile, after which the relationship can be restored potentially to a place where the mother feels comfortable letting the child use the car. Forgiveness came quickly due to the mother's love, but after the break in trust and the hurt and fear that it brought the mother, the child had to take steps to reconcile and restore the relationship. Understanding the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation is really important. Because forgiveness is something to strive for, but not all relationships can or should be reconciled. And listening to your gut and allowing yourself to truly assess what would be necessary to move forward, if desired, in a relationship with this person in the future. What cost would reconciliation have, and what consequences in the future? Again, forgiveness is to release anger and resentment, and to release them of the emotional or material debt to you moving forward. This gives you power over your emotional state and how you want to move forward in the future. But your forgiveness does not mean that you choose to reconcile or restore relations with that person. Sometimes you choose to and can work towards that over time. But forgiveness is not an invitation for repeated bad behavior. It is a release of what burdens you so that you can move onward and upward. You do not have to carry that weight with you. You can choose to move onward and upward from it. You can set it down. It doesn't belong to you, and it is truly not yours to carry. I hope that this discussion of forgiveness has been helpful for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Talks with Dr. Schaefer. I'm so grateful that you are here and that you are with me on this journey of pursuing health and wellness through storytelling. Please let me know if there are topics you would like to discuss or if you have any questions. Like, follow, and share. We are on YouTube and Spotify for our podcasts, and we share all sorts of interesting blog posts on www.drschaefersedronova.com. That's DRSchaefersedronova.com. And we're also on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram as Talks with Dr. Schaefer and Dr. Schaefer. Thank you so much again for being here. I'm so grateful that you're sharing your time with me, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week. Stay safe and take care.